The legend of the 80s versus the legend of the early 2000s. So it's like this rap battle would be like seeing your uncle and your grandpa fighting type shit. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason for it. It kind of seems like it's like some machismo shit. But Melle, let's keep it real, man. Melle had a big mouth and he was talking shit about Eminem first. He was the first one to talk shit about Eminem. You know, Eminem don't really jump out the bushes on nobody unless his name is spoken on, right? And Eminem, he didn't even say nothing crazy about Melle. He just said all the juice is getting to his head or whatever the fuck. And then Melle came back with the worst diss of all time. Let me play that shit real quick.
Mad Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower. To let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower. To let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower. To let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower. To let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now. While the angels fly over my headstone.
We are back with another episode of the God's Hour podcast with your boy Big Cerbavelli, back in the place to be, La Merca Superior, Palace 81. We in the building, live in effect, live and direct. It's your boy Mr. Nine Times. We already explained what's going on, so if you missed what happened over the weekend and why we're in the sala, go look at the last episode. Just here to pretty much fill in the gaps, man. We over here. Well, I'm over here. I don't know who the fuck is we, me, myself, and I. Yeah, there was a lot of things I didn't cover, so we're gonna cover them today. Like this one I've been meaning to talk about for a minute now. My sister don't like guns. Off the bat, my sister, you know, through the years of police brutality and like my sister having to be oppressed by the police or these like certain situations she's been through, like she has like a really negative view on guns, you know, and I don't blame her, because imagine if that was really true. Like my sister has never been through, like, from what I know, no police confrontations. I feel like I would have known about some shit like that, as serious as like police brutality. She's never had any homies of she's never had a run from the cops that I know of, or else she probably would have said I would have known. You know, like, it's funny that people, they have different views on guns and shit like that, but I don't know why I just automatically go to like police brutality as to people not liking guns. You know, you probably would think like, oh, if the cops really ran up on you, you would get a gun or something like that, right? I don't know, Charles Bronson type shit. But I really don't understand why people don't like guns, especially my sister, yo. Like, we got the safe and all that, and I opened up the safe for my sister to see, you know, the heat we was packing, and she was like, disgusting. And I was like, oh, she said, and I'm like, well, you know, that's literally what dad is into, and that's what I'm into, bro. Like, you don't fucking have to like it. But it was like, wow, you know, my sister don't like guns. I wish I could really go more in depth with that, but it's just, it baffles me. I don't really have that, like, to just thinking about it. Like, why would you not like guns? You know, I don't know if I spoke on it or not, but like people, they have them arguments, you know, like, oh, if like we wouldn't need guns, like if guns were illegal, we wouldn't need them. And it's like, well, fucking when booze was illegal, it gave everybody the permission. It gave the criminals permission to do their bullshit activities, criminal activities, because it was illegal. You know, there's money to be made off of illegalities, fucking weed, all the type of drugs. gun modifications, like just the whole, like everything that's pretty much banned and outlawed thrives, under its illegal type shit, because obviously when it becomes legal and it becomes regulated, that's where people lose the underworld type business. For example, when I smoked weed, I wasn't, and I was younger too, I wasn't getting it. Even if I was on enough, I don't think I would go to a weed shop, because the weed shops, you pay the Cali tax and all these taxes on top of that. So pretty much you're buying a whole bunch of weed on tag that's taxed or whatever, versus if you go to the street, a 40 bag's a 40 bag. You go wherever it is, P-Town, O-Town, wherever it is, you get your bag of goodies. It's 40 to 40 flat fee, 7 grams of fucking lemon kush or whatever. I remember that was bomb when I was into that, into those festivities. And literally, if had they been legal and regularly available, I don't think, what the fuck am I even trying to say? I think it would just be like more, okay, so like booze and shit. There's nothing really special about booze, especially when you're like old enough for it. You're not like, you're not gonna, like, there's no excitement to it. Like the whole underworld of crime and all that shit is contingent on like the thrill. A lot of people, they live in them thrills where you just go out and you buy pills, or you go to this connect's house and you buy whatever it is that gets you high or gets you up on shit. And that's part of like the event. Like people live those lifestyles, whether they go clubbing and they drink, or whether they go out with their friends and they do drugs or whatever it is. That's all part of like this Venn diagram of shit that falls under illegal things. Now with guns, it's a very different thing. Me, I would like to say I'm a recreational shooter. I'm really not like my dad, he likes to call us gun enthusiasts, but I'm not enthusiastic that much about guns to where I'm soliciting the shooting of firearms or anything. It's just more so I love doing it. It's no different from me painting. It's no different from me making music. It's just something that I'm passionate about. And like people want to be these labels and shit. Like, oh, I'm an anti-gun, I'm pro-gun, I'm fucking, like people just want to put a label on it. Gun enthusiast, gun nut, Elmer Fuds, and all this type shit. Like I don't like labels. I don't like putting that shit on myself or anything, because that implies you're trying to marginalize and box me in with anything. It doesn't have to be just that. But my whole opinion on it is basically like I love to shoot and I love to exercise the fucking right to bear arms, right? It's very similar to my dad. I feel like we're a lot alike in that way. I just feel like with my father, he's probably like not as into it as I am, for sure. Like I like the breaking down of the firearms, like my Glock 19. I like taking it apart, cleaning it. I really enjoy seeing how the gun operates and how how it all works, racking the slide, how the bullet gets chambered in, why the shells get stuck in the slide, and certain things of that nature. Like I don't know if they would call that like an addictive personality, but it's pretty much anytime I get into something, I'm like all chips in, at least for a little bit. The only thing that's really been sustained this whole time where I've had the exact same passion from when it first started was music for me. But then I went through like my painting phase. I went through like my graffiti phase where I was just all about that shit. Like if I wanted to get up, I was getting up night after night in the street. If like for the paintings, like I was buying canvases like every week, like I have canvases now that I'm like I still haven't used. Like I want to go through all my canvases now and put them up, but like I need to buy the canvas hangers first. With the firearms, it's kind of like I've been shooting every week now for like a minute, at least a few months. And I don't know if that's a phase. It's just more so what I like to do. Like I said, I don't like calling things. I don't like labeling things. So it's just a part of my life. It's a lifestyle. My life is very unique. Like I'm in very, very different things. Like the Venn diagram, like of all the big circles, I'm like that 1% in the middle of everything. Like I love taking care of my koi fish. I love taking care of my dog. I love making music. I love doing the podcast. I love painting. I love shooting guns. I love baking. I love cooking. Like there's like not many people actually are in this bubble that I sort of inhabit this area, but not everybody could be as awesome as me, right? I say that because it just reminded me of so I put the Hawaii Fire clip up on Instagram, and the homie Noah James, shout out to the homie Noah James, he commented, and he basically, from what I could tell, he was kind of like maybe not a little upset, but a little disgruntled about my views. And on the insights of my post, it was a 20-second average viewer duration. People were watching the clip. That's like a 3-4 minute clip. So if you're going to watch the first 20 seconds where I say like fuck the fire and there's corruption in Mexico, yeah, you're probably going to get upset because you don't watch the whole clip. Because if you did, I said like 3 times in 4 minutes that it wasn't about the Hawaii fire. The fire, it was less about the fire and more so about what's going on in other places. And the homie Noah, he kind of took it to whereas like this is like the struggle game, or as he said, like the struggle Olympics. I wasn't trying to say, oh, our struggle was bigger than the Hawaiians or whatever. It was just more so, why don't we pay attention to things that are happening every day versus that shit kind of like it just happened and it was on the news everywhere. Like people that don't give a fuck about Hawaii at all. Like they just go there for the vacation, and as long as they can sip a pina colada on the beach, everything is good. But as soon as the fire comes out, they don't, like, that's their biggest thing. Like they don't care about the Hawaiians and what's going on out there. They just really care about how other people look. Like that was the thing. It was just like a lot of people jumped out the bushes on this Hawaii fire that like they don't, like, you don't really care about this shit. It's just all over the news and people want to repost shit because they, in the public's view, if they're this kind and fucking, community caring person, that if they look like a good person in front of other people, that's all they care about. And some of them, they actually do. Like, I know the homie JM Cam, he's really big on the Hawaii shit. I thought that was cool. I think I salute that type of shit. Noah, he's Haitian, so he understands it. That was my whole point, though. I wasn't trying to belittle anybody. I wasn't trying to make it seem like the Mexico struggle is bigger than everybody else. My whole point was just kind of like, these are things that happen every day. And if you're not aware of it, yeah, like a Hawaii fire type situation that it only came out just now. Like, yeah, that's a big deal. But with the homie Noah, his whole point was like, it's like a systematic oppression, colonization and all that. Like there's a lot of people that take advantage of Hawaii. And I was honest with him. Like, I don't know about the history. Like, I'm not Hawaiian. I don't know any of that shit. Like JMKM could probably tell you more about that shit than me, because he's actually Hawaiian. And I totally respect that. But it's just, I'm just always going to represent me and where I come from. And I feel like anybody who has a problem with that is lame. I'm not saying nobody has a problem with it, but it's just more so like, these are my opinions. If you want to make your own show, if you want to talk about it on your platform and we can have a discussion about it, let's do it. But these are my views, you know what I mean? And a lot of podcasts are about bullshit. That's how I feel. A lot of podcasts out here are talking nonsense, and there's no real validity to the conversation, versus we need controversial opinions like that. I knew for a fact I was going to catch some heat off of that clip. I didn't even really catch that much heat. It was more so like in like, you know, the little community I have like on Instagram or whatever, like, you know, one or two people might have got upset or disgruntled about the situation. My whole thing was, it's like, we need to have these uncomfortable conversations. Like, I don't know everything, you don't know everything, so let's build together. Like, I don't see what the big deal is in us having a dialogue and building some sort of communication that'll bring more awareness to the people, because a lot of people don't understand that. And if there's something I missed out, or if there's something I'm wrong about, let's have a conversation. You know, and that's all I wanted to get through. I didn't want to make anybody upset or anything like that. I didn't want to, you know, make it seem like Mexico has the biggest struggle. It has a big struggle, but there's a lot of countries that are struggling. You know, Africa, the shit out there in the Ukraine, Mexico, Haiti. Those are just the ones I know, you know, and it's pretty interesting because you see like a lot of these Haitians are in Mexico. So and there's actually, I think my grandma said there's like a little Haiti in Mexicali out there, which a lot of Haitians are settling in Mexico. They already got a little Haiti out there from all the refugees coming through, and I think that's dope, man. If Haitians want to assimilate in Mexico, which it looks like that's happening. If they want to kick it with the raza and they want to become part of our culture, that's cool. You know, I have no problems with that. I think it's cool if they can find themselves a new home in Mexico and they could get whatever it is they couldn't do in Haiti on and popping. Whether they travel up to Canada, they settle in the U.S., or they just stay in Mexico. Like, I'm here for it. And there's a whole bunch of shit that's happening in Mexico that I don't want to speak on now, because these are little rumblings, little rumors I hear about the Haitians in Mexico that might not be doing the best things for their future. But you know what? I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to jump out the window on any topics, because these are things that are happening now that we're really not going to see the effects of until 10, 20 years from now, where we get things like Narcos or TV shows where they, like, you know, in the fucking after the pandemic in the 2020s, all the Haitians in Haiti came to Mexico and they fucking ba-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, we're really not going to see it now. We're starting to see what's happening, but they're just starting to come. So you can't really say, oh, they need to do this, you know, like, they're just starting to come here. So hopefully everybody, God bless everybody, finds their way, you know? Man, I need that water real quick. Now, water gets you right, man. Stop drinking all them fucking sodas and fucking Tai Cheese and Starbucks. Starbucks is the biggest, like, money grabbing shit of all time, man. Like, you got me fucked up thinking I'm gonna spend $20 on a frappa cappuccino or whatever the fuck it is you get out there. And some of them drinks are fire, I'm not gonna lie, but it's like coffee. Like, I already have anxiety, so caffeine don't do it for me, you know. Like, it doesn't register right with my sistema. I feel like it puts me on the edge sometimes. So, like, I literally stopped drinking caffeine altogether. Like, I'll have, like, you know, I just had a zero sugar squirt, but I'll have, like, but that's because we have it and I want to get rid of it. You know, my parents don't drink that shit, but they buy it. Like, we got 4 whole cases of zero sugar squirt, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to drink one every other day. That's like a case of squirt a month. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I'm a big numbers guy with the whole numbers game type shit, but I don't like caffeine at all. Like, it makes me jittery and wiry. There it is there. What else we got? Oh, happy 50 years to hip hop. So hip hop turns 50 this year. And I've been listening to Mobb Deep, you know what I mean? More of the Hell on Earth and murder music. I think I heard Hell on Earth one time, and I don't think I liked it compared to the Infamous, because the Infamous is so nostalgic for me. I mean, I made Picasso and Matisse just listening to the Infamous and War Report by CNN. So when going to Hell on Earth from the Infamous, it just didn't do it for me because how much the Infamous gave me. Like, the Infamous was an album I actually lived with. I was going to college and I was listening to songs like Trife Life, QU, Hectic. There's a whole bunch of Eye for an Eye. There's a whole bunch of songs on that album that might be one flawless album, The Infamous. And a lot of people, a lot of Big Mob Deep fans, they like Murder Music or Hell on Earth more than The Infamous. I gotta, with me, it's like I've been listening to Murder Music. It's a really dope album, like on repeat, and I'm gonna get into Hell on Earth. I gotta say though, that Extortion by Method Man, I forgot how fire that song was. So I'm definitely gonna listen to Hell on Earth a few times, then go back to The Infamous and kind of give y'all like a recap of what it was. But hip hop is 50 years old, and I could remember like shit, man. As a kid, hip hop wasn't even really like a thing to me. You know, hip hop was more so on the back burner. Like, I really love rock and roll music, which a lot of people don't really get. Maybe when you hear me yelling and shit on the records, that'll probably indicate, you know, my love for rock and roll, metal music. But like as a kid, I was big in the System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine, Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne. There was just like, and that's pretty much it. Like, there wasn't too many bands I really like, but those bands for sure, like AC/DC, and that's pretty much it. Black Sabbath, AC/DC, System, Sublime, Metallica, Rage, and that's all. But as I, you know, got older, I had an uncle that played hip hop nonstop. Hip hop head, my Tío George, one of my favorite tíos for sure. He's a dickhead, but like one thing about my Tío George is he's not as proud and as prideful as my other uncles. Like, well, he'll let you know where he fucked up. Like, if it's some shit that he don't think he fucked up, then he's probably not gonna admit to it. But if it's something like, yo, like you fucked up right there, dog, he'll be like, oh, okay, like my bad, you know what I mean? Like, for sure. And I really dig that about them versus like my other uncles. They wouldn't tell you, like, some of my uncles, they know they're dead ass wrong, like they fucked up, but they'll never admit it to anyone, maybe not even to themselves, you know what I mean? And I think that's horse shit. But my uncle, my Tío George, he would pick me up from school and he would bump like Black Moon, Big L, Redman, like. And I remember just being at my, because we all stayed like at my grandma's house. So at my grandma's house, he would have them big speakers and he would be bumping like just dope underground music, nonfiction, Big L, whoever it was, right? Like it was weird because I felt like I never heard the same song twice. Like he had just infinite amounts of songs, you know, talking about the Gangstar Foundation, Big Suge, to fucking Cannibal Ox, to more like mainstream rappers, Wu-Tang and shit like that. But my uncle, for the most part, was all underground. Like that's all he dug. Like we could have a big discussion on, I want to have a discussion with my uncle on the God's Hour, but like to him, he just doesn't see. It's sad because he's like, well, like there's nothing interesting about like what I got going on. It's like, it's not about that. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like I would never have a podcast because it's like, what the fuck am I going to talk about? Not because I'm not uninteresting, but it's just like, well, what is there to say? But it's like, bro, like everybody has a unique story, just like everybody has a unique voice. Everyone has a unique DNA. Everybody has something to contribute to the table. And I feel like my Tío, he maybe not be the reason why I'm rapping, but he's a big influence on why I rap the way I do and what I'm into, because my uncle was super big in the East Coast hip hop, and that's probably why I'm super big in the East Coast hip hop now, because you know back in the day everybody was on Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, everybody was on Dre, Exhibit. And don't get me wrong, my uncle did bump West Coast music, but it was like nobody out here was bumping the East Coast music, Styley, Smith and Wesson, Sean Price, Helter Skelter, like all that were beloved artists that my uncle would bump. All like Nono, my Tío Angel, my Tío George. We were all big into, or they were all big into East Coast music. And had it not been for that, I probably wouldn't be rapping in a East Coast type style. You know, people say, oh, like you got that underground East Coasties, when it's just more so, it's not that I have an East Coasties, it's like I have a style that's like not even here anymore. You know, I feel like people don't even be rapping in this sort of style, which is more for me. Like that, I feel like that makes me even more unique. While everybody's on the hippity dippity shit, while everybody is so concerned with this style or that style, I'm over here pretty much like the anomaly, the fucking like the, what is it, the blast from the past type shit, because I've talked about this where I've thought about making music that's more palatable and more mainstream, but I just don't feel it. Like I have like a song I made that's Playboy Cardi-ish, because like out of the new rappers, like it's probably like I like Cardi, Future, 21 Savage, and that's it. That's all like that could really, you know, that's off the top of my head. But besides that, I'm talking about the East Coast style, you know what I mean? And 50 years of hip hop is so crazy, man, because you go through like the beginnings, the Cool Hercs, the Grandmasters, you know, all the DJs out there, the fucking, the what do they call them? The pop lockers and shit like that. Like my Tío George like would pop lock and shit like that, you know, to disco music or the Zapp and Roger type music that was out playing popular at the time. My dad was a DJ. My dad got my Tío George into hip hop, into DJing and shit like that. So it all kind of like, it all comes 360. Like my dad was a DJ, got my Tío George into music, and my Tío George got me into the same type of music too. So it's like all like a passing of the guard. 50 years of hip hop is crazy, man, because I could just name off some artists, like artists I love listening to. Like the first two rap albums my dad ever bought me was Black Sunday by Cypress Hill and Straight Outta Compton by NWA. So I knew like all the lyrics to Black Sunday as a kid. I had to have been like not even a teenager, or maybe like barely becoming a teenager. I knew all the lyrics to Straight Outta Compton. And that's why I love when that Straight Outta Compton movie came out. It literally brought me back like, oh shit, I remember playing Call of Duty in the house all fucking day, playing this shit, eating a mountain of nacho cheese Doritos with a fat fucking Yato scoop of sour cream and a big thing of tapatio on top of all that. Like that was my shit. I would come home. Like a big thing we would do in junior high school, what me and my cousin would do, so we would do summer school. We would walk, because we were walking. Like there was no way my grandma would take us to school, but my grandma wasn't gonna pick us up. So we would walk home from school. We would go to Zelda's Tunnel. We would kick it there. You know, if we found a can that had some paint in it, we would get up 1 or 2 tags. The can would be empty, toss it. You know, fucking 1 or 2 times there was like a cop there. We had to skate off from the cops. We would kick it, because on them hot summer days, man, it was like fucking 100 degrees, but you go in that tunnel and it was like natural AC, you know, in the tunnel. It was fucking dog. It had to been like 76, like high 60, 70, at least in the 70 for sure degrees there. And you would be fucking like, God damn, we got to walk, you know, the rest of the way home. And we would we would walk home, watch Friday or fucking Next Friday, bump Straight Outta Compton or Black Sunday loud as fuck, because I had all the hip hop albums. Or we would listen to K Day we would do late at night. Like we would get high and bump K Day. That was when K Day actually played, like, you know, Cream by Wu-Tang, or Gin and Juice, or old school Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg songs. They didn't really bump Wu-Tang, but I remember sometimes they would play Cream, and very rarely would they play Protect Your Neck on K-Day, which was the first hip-hop station, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's fucking crazy. But yeah, man, like, this hip-hop shit has been a part of my life for like a lot longer than anything, you know, that I've actually stuck with. Like music, I think that's where it came from. Like music and hip hop, it wasn't just a fad. It wasn't just like a phase for me. Like these goth people and these bisexuals out here that they just doing it for like a phase. They call it, like, you know, that was my phase. Hip hop was never a phase to me, bro. Like it was something that I loved, and as soon as I got into it, it stuck with me. It became a part of my life, and hip hop, I feel like, is my life now, to where I give back to it by doing the podcast and speaking on these artists or giving their flowers. And I feel like I need to do that more. I feel like I talk shit about the newer generation more so than I do talk about who inspired me and things of that nature. So maybe I'll since this was a hip hop platform, maybe I'll once an episode I'll talk about an artist and why I love them. But 50 years of hip hop, man, crazy. Like some of the artists that I love growing up, Busta Rhymes, you know, DMX. I love that song as a kid, the up in here, da-na-na-na-na. Like I fucking love that song. Like he just had a crazy dope voice. Like, and he had like a commanding tone in his voice, DMX. Like he was so awesome. As a young kid, I really like more of the R&B shit, you know, like Shaggy and things like that. But as far as hip hop, I was definitely into Dre, Snoop, Cube, and maybe not NWA, but you know, like the mainstream hip hop shit that they still play on the radio now. All the artists I pretty much just said, Cypress Hill. But then, like, as like getting into a teenager, I got into Wu-Tang Clan, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Odd Future, which is fucking crazy. That was a whole nother like age in hip hop, to where it was like a lot of people were saying they were like the new Wu-Tang. But around that time, Schoolboy Q, TDE, Kendrick Lamar, I was going to say Odd Future, Frank Ocean, Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, Mellow Hype, Mellow High, Damo Genesis. Those were all the artists I was bumping later. And it's crazy because I would listen to new school rap and old school rap at the same time, which is like at least underground. Like I still do that now. Like underground shit, I still bump, you know, Griselda, Makami, whoever it is, you know, Starker, Knack, Davino, Hidden Character. He's probably like my favorite. Hidden Character and Starker are my favorite up and coming artists. I mean, and it's crazy to say that because Starker's been rapping for like over 10 years now. And Hidden Character kind of like, I don't want to say he just came out, but a lot of people don't know about his whole history and his origins and all that shit. Starker and Hidden Character, I feel like as far as the underground is concerned, they're really like holding it down. Like they're my favorite ones for sure up until as of recently, but for sure, like right before them, you got the Griseldas, the Conways, Westside, Benny, El Camino, just a whole bunch of dope rappers, and even some mainstream rappers I love. Pop Smoke, fucking what's his name, Trippie Redd, Playboy Cardi, Future, like I said, 21 Savage. But through high school, it was mainly like Wu-Tang, Doom, Quasimodo, Madlib. Fuck, man, it's just I listen to a whole bunch of music, a lot of Captain Murphy. You know, what's his name? Sam I Am. Got into producers, John Wayne, Fly Low, a whole bunch of shit. And then the artist that inspired me to rap, to actually start picking up the pen and doing the rhymes, was definitely artists like Amy Winehouse, Kendrick Lamar, Z Loopers, Danny Brown. I had like literally like I hope I still have that notebook of like all the artists that influenced me. It's a whole like Bible verse of rappers that and artists, R&B artists that really influenced me to do what I'm doing now. And celebrating 50 years of hip hop, I can't even. I love this genre so much. You know, you don't even think about it until you really see how much it's a part of your lifestyle. Like Mobb Deep was like, once I started really getting into like the lyricism and the importance of lyrics, it was definitely like Boot Camp Click, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, CNN. You know, as far as the old school, 50 Cent. How can I forget 50 Cent, dude? Nate Dogg. Eminem I wasn't a big fan of, but he got some good shit, real shit. You know, When I'm Gone, things of that. Like I've spoke on before. Eminem is really dope. I don't want to just skim through Eminem. You know, he's contributed a lot to hip hop. The 8 Mile movie is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably my favorite hip hop movie for sure. Got Exhibit in it. X, you know, shout out to him. A whole bunch of artists, man. Just like I can't even begin. Like I could just look at my Apple Music library and just ASAP Rocky. How could I forget the whole ASAP Mob, Absol, Action, Bronson? Let me just go down here, man. Give a shout out Alchemist, Alicia Keys, fucking Apollo Brown, OC, the whole Digging in the Crates, Big L. You know what I mean? There's a whole shitload of artists. Diamond D, Buckshot, Showbiz, and AG. We already said Cypress Hill. Beastie Boys. Who else we got? Bob Marley. Nah, I'm just kidding. It looked came through. Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One, 9mm Go Bang. You know what I mean? Even some of the lo-fi producers too, like Beside You. I mean, I guess they wouldn't be considered hip hop. They'd be lo-fi, but still, man, like their beats are freaking awesome. Beside You, Swamp, Ginseng, all the producers that were on. What is it? Picasso and Matisse. Capital Steez, Pro Era. That was a big phase in high school for me. Cassidy, shout out to him. Who else we got, man? There's so many. Coolio. I'm going to just start naming them off. Huh? DJ Skiz, you know, Static Selector. Come on now. Dre, we said Dre. Drake was all right, you know what I mean? I'm not a super big Drake fan. E40, yes. Eazy-E. Said El Camino. Big Serbs. I had to name myself in there. E1, Fat Joe, Big Pun. There we go. Flo Fills. The Game. Fugees. Giallo Point. One of the newer artists, Gray Matter. This is literally everything like that I just have on my phone. J. Cole, J. Dilla. Come on now. How can I forget? Nujabes, however you say. Jedi Mind Tricks. Let's stop there for a second. I was in a big Jedi Mind Tricks phase, bro. Like, Jedi Mind, Heavenly Divine, Steadily Shining 99. Like, bro, literally Jedi Mind Tricks, like, was a super big, what is it? Roll of Life by Vinnie Paz, one of my favorite songs of all time. Shout out to Jedi Mind Tricks, man. Definitely it put like a big emphasis on like lyricism and what dope hip hop shit is for sure. West Side Connection, man. Mac 10, Dub C, Jim Jones, the whole Dipset. I wasn't too big into them. John Wayne, he was a big influence on me. Crisis, KRS-One, we said. Fuck, man. Lil Rob, is he the one that did Summertime? Summer days just sitting around. Oh, no, that's Baby Bash, right? And then the sun goes down. I'll be ready to party. Lil Wayne, I wasn't a big Lil Wayne fan, but he got some good shit. Ludacris, same thing. Lupe Fiasco, same thing. Mad Villain, boom. Okay, I'm not even halfway through the shit, and I'm kind of already like, you get the point, right? There's so many artists that influence me that when people say like name your top 5, top 10, you can't, bro. Like I could name you the top 5 right now. Maybe in an hour it'll change. Maybe in 2 hours it'll change. The vibe will change. You know, if we're at a kickback or a party, like that'll definitely dictate what we're gonna play now. Whether we gotta go to Draco the Ruler, rest in peace. Triple X, rest in peace. Shout out to all the legends who have passed away, bro. Jam Master Jay, Big L, Biggie. I didn't even name Tupac. I didn't even name so many, man. Coolio, you know. Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, rest in peace, the Fife Dog. And I forgot my man name from De La Soul. Fuck, I forgot his name, but you know what I'm talking about. He passed away. Grave Diggers, you know, rest in peace to Fruquan. I think that was his name. The Grim Reaper. Super big influence on me. Hip hop is 50, man. I didn't think it would be this. It would come this far. I really didn't think. You know, as a kid, had you told me like there'll still be hip hop, I probably believe you, but I don't think it'd be in the direction that it is now. Like, who could ever predict that hip hop would be evolving? Like, you know, hold on. From the ringtone era, the crump, the bling bling, Southern era that was ushered in by like Master P in the early 2000s, to like this soft R&B shit that came around with like the Drakes and the Party Next Doors and Post Malones, and to the trap shit, 2 Chainz, Future, to the drill music like Chief Keef and all the homies in Chicago. Like, hip hop has evolved, and it's literally like a family tree that branches off and becomes like fucking other trees because it's so big and the genre has evolved to now. But even like I'll say like even the underground has changed from like Doom to like, let's say, Elzai, to like Bishop Nehru, Griselda, TDE when they were underground. I mean, they're kind of they're kind of signed through Interscope, so they're not really independent. But you know, like everything evolves, not just the underground, not just the overground. Like everything evolves, everything changes, and I think that's very, very dope. That I like seeing in hip hop. It's just more so of this never ending type thing, and we spent a lot of fucking time on this shit. So we'll end it with Melle versus Eminem, since we're doing 50 years of hip hop. This was bad. I'm just gonna say off the bat, this was one of the worst rap battles of all time. Worst because it's kind of like the legends of like the 80s versus the legend of the 80s versus the legend of the early 2000s. So it's like this rap battle would be like seeing your uncle and your grandpa fighting type shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for it. It kind of seems like it's like some machismo shit. But Melle, let's keep it real, man. Melle had a big mouth, and he was talking shit about Eminem first. He was the first one to talk shit about Eminem. You know, Eminem don't really jump out the bushes on nobody unless his name is spoken on, right? And Eminem, he didn't even say nothing crazy about Melle. He just said all the juice is getting to his head or whatever the fuck. And then Melle came back with the worst diss of all time. Let me play that shit real quick. One time. My fucking... Let me see. Melle diss Eminem. Let me see. Oh shit, this is on my other account. Fuck. God damn it. And I don't even want to see. I don't even want to see the fucking. Let me see. Did Eminem respond? I doubt Eminem responded. Why are there ads? That's hilarious. So I think for what Eminem, I don't like Eminem, his old shit now, but like, I think it was really like tasteful. Like he shouted out the Grandmasters. But in that he like sneak dissed Melle for being on. He could have said a lot of shit, bro. Eminem, he's known the fucking Flamefuls, right? But I feel like his disses now are more so like aimed at people in the spotlight now, or they're getting some clout now. Not all the time, but for sure, like if they're known and they talk shit about him, he's for sure gonna clap back, which I respect. So I think it was very tasteful. So let me hear the Melle shit. Oh my god, Melle. Okay, this isn't 80 fucking 2 or whatever style was fucking hot at the time. The beat, I think who made the beat too? I know somebody big made the beat. I don't even like the beat. And they're saying the 80s are back. Back where, bruh? Back in the dinosaur age or what? Like hip hop evolved so far since then, bro. Like hip hop is literally generations away from that style. Like I was really looking forward to Melle doing something new, and it's just literally not. This is why like a lot of artists, they don't respect the older heads, because they feel like they're not respecting the new generation. And it's not about the new generation, but it was like with the whole Eminem, it's like comparing apples to oranges, bro. Like you can't even say dictate a clear winner, because I don't like the Eminem style and I don't like Melle style. So literally this is a tie, because this was a pointless ass beef. That's how I feel about it. The message of the day, man, is always remember the good times. And even though we go through hardships, just remember that these are the best times of your life. I used to always be like, oh man, I remember the good times and this and this and that. And I felt, and was feeling like after the years went by, I'm like, well, fuck. I remember thinking, I hated life at that point. And now I'm looking back like those were some of the best years of my life. When it's like you should just appreciate the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. So always appreciate that, man, and always give gratitude to the now. You know what I mean? Just appreciate and have appreciation for what's going on around you. This is the God's Hour.
Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now, while the angels fly over my headstone.